Hey friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda and I am so glad that you are here today. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing some Halloween DIYs with you. So if you like the content that you see, please consider subscribing. Also giving me a big thumbs up helps me out here on YouTube. So today's video is a little bit longer than usual. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. For our first idea, I am going to show you how to create a spooky neighborhood with Dollar Tree items. So to begin, you will need something long and skinny for your base. I grabbed this give thanks sign from Dollar Tree and split it down the middle with a box cutter, and I'm going to attach these two pieces to make it thicker. I then grabbed a garden fence from Dollar Tree. I cut the stakes off the bottom and I cut the plastic pieces off of the sides. I then went back to my give thanks sign and glued these two pieces together with generous amount of hot glue to form that long skinny base that I need. Once I have that done, I then grab my other items I need for this DIY. So I grab a package of these Dollar Tree craft cubes, and I also grab 3 wooden houses from Dollar Tree. Have about 5 different designs of this house. So I just grabbed the 3 that I like the most. I am going to stand them up on this long skinny sign and use these wood cubes to adhere them to the sign. So just make sure I have some hot glue on the part of the cube that attaches to the house and also the part that attaches to the sign. I'm going to stand one house on either end, and then for my third house I'm going to place that in the middle, overlapping in the front, so that I can glue the little sides that touch the other houses down for even more stability. Once I get this all in place, I'm going to glue wood cubes all along the back of this long skinny sign. Then I'll add a dab of hot glue on each cube and stand my garden fence up, pressing firmly so it attaches to the back of my sign. Once everything is done and all set, this is what it looks like. I spray paint it with some black Rust-Oleum spray paint. Then I grab these little foam bones from Dollar Tree and also these little hay bales to decorate the front of my neighborhood. I'm going to put some hay bales kind of randomly, 3 in one spot, 2 in another, 1 on either side. Just do how you like. Then I glue some of these foam bones together in an X formation. I put some on there separately. A couple of them I break in half and glue down. This is really customizable to however you like. Then I take some Waverly plaster chalk paint on a brush and just distress the front of my houses. I also distress that garden gate just to give it an old and vintage look. I tucked some string lights down between the houses and the fence, and here is what it looks like. I think this is absolutely adorable, very customizable, very inexpensive using Dollar Tree items, and this really only cost us a few dollars. You could make this longer by attaching more signs and houses. Do whatever you like. Please let me know what you think about this one down below in the comment section. And with all that being said, today is Falloween. I am the host. My co-hosts are Chantel from Crafty Hints and Brenda from Rustic and Lace DIY. We do a challenge every month on the 1st. I love working with these talented, amazing, sweet ladies. I will have their channels linked in my description box. I will also link the playlist for this challenge so you can get tons of fall and Halloween inspiration. All right, here is another idea for you for a standing witch hat made with Dollar Tree items. So I grabbed a Dollar Tree poster board and began rolling it up into a cone shape. Once you get the shape that you want, you just take the end piece of that poster board and glue it down. I also glue down the seam. Then to make this stand up, I kind of pinch the bottom together and give it a trim. Then I pinch in the opposite direction and trim that as well. I then test to see if this will stand up flat and kind of trim as needed. It does not have to be perfect. So then I'm going to take a Dollar Tree pizza pizza pan, and I'm going to put glue all along the edges. I'm going to flip it over on top of some more of this black poster board, and I'm going to cut all the way around so that when I flip this back over, my pizza pan will be entirely covered in this black poster board. I am then going to measure where I'm going to put that hat, create little holes. Then I'm going to use my X-Acto knife to cut this part out. I want my hat to be attached to the pizza pan and not just the poster board because I want this to be sturdy. So I just go ahead and trace that out, and then I use generous amounts of hot glue to attach this cone shape, which is the top of my hat, into that pizza pan. Once that is done, I take some of this Dollar Tree buffalo check ribbon, I tie a piece around the front, and then I decide I want to add a little bit more to give it kind of a wavy look. So I just glue it down and kind of twist it around the bottom part of my cone, gluing down here and there. Then I just complete that and glue down the ends, trimming off any excess, and I begin on my bow. I use this beautiful velvet ribbon from Dollar Tree to create an X formation with 2 loops on either side. I then use a zip tie to tie it tightly in the middle so that I can fluff it up. I trim off any excess of zip tie and ribbon. Once my bow is done, I can attach that to my hat at the base of that cone. I then create another bow the same way with some more of that buffalo check ribbon, and I attach it directly into the middle of my purple velvet bow. Once that is done, I take some of these foam roses from Dollar Tree. I'm going to use the black and white as well as the purple to decorate this. I put a few of them around that bow, and I also put a few of them at the top of my hat, but this is totally customizable. I use this little welcome to our haunted home sign from Dollar Tree that comes 2 to a pack, and I just bend the wire around that cone shape so this stays in place. I then take some Waverly plaster chalk paint on my brush, and I go all around this hat to give it a light distressing, to give it an age look. That is absolutely optional. And then I take this little sanding sponge and sand around the outside of my hat, and here is what it looks like, a freestanding witch's hat. I think it is absolutely adorable and super customizable. Okay, here is another idea for you. Let's create a Dollar Tree eyeball garland that is perfect for outdoors or indoors. I grabbed 3 packages of these Dollar Tree eyeballs that come 12 to a pack. I also grabbed some twine. So to begin, I am going to firmly hold the eyeball between my fingers and press the glue gun down until the tip pokes through and it creates a hole. I'm going to do this to both sides of my eyeballs, and then I'm going to use a piece of jute twine that I had put some masking tape on the end to act as a needle. And I'm going to, hi Diana, that's my bulldog, you guys. Anyways, I'm just going to push that piece of twine through all of these eyeballs, and then once I get the length of garland that I desire, I like to just tie a loop in the end so that I can hang it if I desire, but you can make this as long or as short as you want, and I think it is perfect for a mantle or a bush or a fall tree. Just so cute and inexpensive. Here is what it looks like on my bush outside with some creepy cloth. Okay, let's jump right into our next idea. So for this next one, I thought it would be fun to make a stack of cats. So I'm using Dollar Tree items to create this little stack, and I actually give 2 options because here in the beginning when I'm showing you what I'm using, I show this merry and bright sign from Dollar Tree. I was thinking of lining up the cats on top of it. I decided not to do that, so you'll see what I do here. But to begin, I place 4 cats down, and onto the back of each one I hot glue a Jenga block. I then apply more hot glue on the other side of that Jenga block and sandwich the Jenga block between 2 cats. So for each of my cats, it has a double side. Okay, so then I choose a dowel rod from a pack that I got from Walmart. But Dollar Tree does sell dowel rods if you are lucky enough to find them. I place my cats on one side of the dowel rod with some hot glue. I'm also filling in the hole at the top of my cats with some hot glue as I did not have any wood filler. As you can see, I'm facing my cats in opposite directions and kind of tilting them so that this is just kind of a fun, wonky, sideways little stack there. And once everything is hot glued down and attached, then I can go ahead and paint. As you can see, I also added some hot glue to where the cats attach as well as the dowel, just to make sure that this is sturdy. I then paint the entire thing with a spongy brush and some black paint from the Dollar Tree Crafters Square section. You could paint before you assemble. It's just easier for me to do it this way. I had a crate that I had already painted with Waverly plaster, and the crate already had a piece of floral foam in it, so I just put my cat arrangement down in there. I grabbed some black yarn from Dollar Tree and filled up the box, as well as some of these foam bones from Dollar Tree. I then took some of this bat ribbon from Dollar Tree and cut off the wired sides and glued it down to the front of my box just to add a little bit of decoration. Here is what this looks like. Let me know what you think about this one. Alright, here is a super fun ghost garland using Dollar Tree items. So first you will want to grab up a t-shirt from Dollar Tree. I found one that was 4X, and this was absolutely perfect because it gave me a lot of material to work with. So to begin, I spread it out and then I folded it over. When you fold it over, you actually have 4 pieces of material stacked up. So here's what I did. Then I trimmed off that hem there, and my cuts are not perfect because I do need new scissors, but that is okay. You totally can't tell once our ghosts are assembled. So now I'm going to make a cut under the armpit line in that pocket there. So I have a big piece of fabric. And then I'm going to cut this piece in half, and then I will be cutting those pieces in half. So we're going to end up with 16 pieces of fabric if you do it this way. Then one more cut. Okay, so here's what we have. Of course, you'll need to cut each one of these pieces in the middle. So if that was hard to follow, really any way that works for you to cut this down, you just want squares of fabric. So like I said, I ended up with 16 doing it this way, and I just spread them out, cut them, and here's my squares. And now I'm going to use these little styrofoam balls from Dollar Tree that come 4 to a pack. However, you can use whatever you like. Even ping pong balls would work. I place a little ball in the middle of my fabric, and I do use 2 pieces of fabric for each ghost. I place my fabric in opposite directions, but you can just use one if you want. I just really like the full look at the bottom. I tie it tightly with a piece of jute twine and tie a little bow there in the middle. I repeat this process 8 times for some small ghosts. I then make a couple of larger ghosts that are perfect for a tier tray or just any space that you want a spooky little ghost. So easy peasy, just tie the top tightly, and then you can fluff and arrange your bottom any way that you like it. You can also, if you don't want to add these bows, you can just tie the twine and add a different bow if you like. So this is a very customizable project. So for the 2 larger ones, I'm just going to be using the chest pieces here, and again there'll be 2 pieces of fabric on either side. So I'm cutting out the chest pieces and doing the exact same thing. You just have a bigger ghost with a longer tail here, and then here's the comparison. And then I'm going to take my Sharpie and I'm going to draw 3 little dots, 2 for the eyes and 1 for the little screaming mouth. However, you can do whatever faces you like, or you can do different faces on some of them. All of mine came out a little tiny bit different because of the folds in the fabric, but I think they all came out super cute. Now you need a needle and some jute twine or whatever you want to string your garland onto. I did not have a dowel needle, which is recommended for this project, so I just used the biggest needle that I had. I pushed it through the foam, and then I use these little pliers to pull it out the other side, and that worked for me. I strung all 8 of my ghosts onto this jute twine, and then I took some burlap strips that I had, but you could use ribbon or fabric, and I just tied one in between each ghost just to add a pop of color and some farmhouse charm. Again, absolutely customizable beads, fabric, ribbon, whatever you like. So when that is done, I'm just going to tie a loop on either end so that I can hang this if that is how I choose to display it. And then our adorable little ghost garland will be good to go. This is such a cute, inexpensive project, especially if you can find a very large t-shirt from Dollar Tree with lots of fabric. So here is what it looks like displayed on my bushes, but the sky is the limit in ways you could display this. Okay, now for our next idea, let's create a little ghost using a Dollar Tree wooden cutout. This is a super simple and fast project. I took this Dollar Tree wooden cutout and painted it with Waverly Plaster Chalk Paint. Now I am showing you some felt I got from Dollar Tree, as originally I used this yellow piece of felt for behind the eyes and mouth of my ghost. In the final reveal, you will see that I changed this to black, but there's a couple of options for you. So I just put some glue on the back of the ghost's face and placed down a piece of the felt. I then trimmed off the excess. Then I began to decorate by taking some Dollar Tree rub-on transfers and just choosing the ones that I wanted. I cut them out and placed them on to my ghost and then just used my fingernail to rub them down. These go on really easily and you can use your fingernail or a tool. And I just put as many as I wanted on this little ghost, very customizable. And then I put Trick or Treat on the tummy there. I replaced the piece of jute twine for the hanger, and then I formed a little bow for her head just using a spare piece of Dollar Tree black felt ribbon that I had. I just folded it over, bunched it in the middle, and then adhered it to her head at an angle with some hot glue. I then added a little jute twine bow to the middle of that larger bow because I thought that looked super cute. Now again, in the final reveal, she will have black behind her eyes and mouth, but you can do this any way you want. And here's what she looks like displayed with some other things that we made in today's video. Just a cute little piece, and I hope you like this one. Okay, for our next idea, it is the longest DIY in this video and kind of a two-parter. So I really hope you like this one. To begin, we are going to create the broom. You just figure out the length you want. So I wanted mine to be a little bit longer, so I actually glued a dowel rod to a piece of dowel rod that I had, but you could make your broom as long or as short as you wanted. Now I had about 2 packages of these sparkly purple pipe cleaners, so I just folded the top part down, placing the top part in the back, and then I laid these on top and on either side of my dowel. I did reserve some to wrap around the top of these pipe cleaners to hold my broom together. So as you can see here, I just slide these few underneath the top, twisting them around tightly to the back and then twisting them around several times. I then trim off the excess and I add generous amounts of hot glue to keep everything together. I then decide to come in toward the top with a couple more of these pipe cleaners, just twisting them around to make sure that this is nice and sturdy. Now I didn't paint my broomstick first because I wasn't sure what color I was going to go with. However, once I get the broom together, I just put some black acrylic paint on a napkin and wipe it on and off of this broomstick. Then we set our broom aside and begin on our wreath. So I found this witch's hat wreath at Dollar Tree. This shelf liner is not from Dollar Tree. It's from a larger roll from Walmart. However, Dollar Tree does sell a shelf liner. Be careful with your fingers on this part as the hot glue can pop through the shelf liner, but what you want to do is just place your form on top of the shelf liner and then wrap the shelf liner around the form, gluing it down and trimming off any excess. Again, please use finger protectors to protect your fingers. I then cut out a piece of the shelf liner that I could place over the back just to clean the back up. I then trimmed off any excess and I am ready to begin decorating my witch's hat on the bottom. So this piece of tool is glow in the dark from Dollar Tree, and I misspoke. I'm not doing the bottom yet. I am actually going to wrap this glow in the dark tool around the top of my hat, covering up that shelf liner, and then when I get to the top part, I will wrap it around a couple of times and glue it down. Now I can begin on the bottom of my hat. So I have a couple rolls of this Dollar Tree sparkly black tulle and also a couple rolls of the sparkly purple tulle. I have a large roll of Dollar Tree burlap from the Dollar Tree Plus section for $5. So I'm cutting I believe it was 6-inch piece of the burlap and then a 6-inch piece of either color tulle, stacking them up and putting them together with a zip tie. So I did decide to use 2 pieces of burlap. So what you see here is 2 pieces of burlap and a piece of each tulle. I bunched them together and I began zip tying them onto the sections. Now I did run out of burlap and end up using the liner in its place, and that worked just as well. So here I am showing you for either side, the top and the bottom, on those parts that stick out, I am using 5 bunches. Then in the middle part, I am using 4 bunches on each one, and I put 1 in that middle section that comes downward, and I ended up using another one there just to fill it out. However, I honestly believe that the shelf liner worked just as well as the burlap, and I don't think you can really tell a difference. I wish I had just went ahead and used all shelf liner. So here you're watching me create the bow for the bottom of our witch's hat. I'm just using Dollar Tree ribbon and some more of that Dollar Tree tulle. Now I gave the amount of little poofs or puffs that I tied on each side of the witch's hat, but you could use as many or even fewer if you didn't want it as full, or more if you wanted it fuller. So once my bow is created, I just attach it to the side of my hat at an angle there. Zip ties work really, really well for this project. You can just pull them as tight as you want them, and then that allows you to fluff things out, and then you just cut off the excess zip tie. So once my bow is glued down, I do glue on a smaller bow there to the front. I just really want that to be poofy and fancy, but that is an optional step. I then attach the broom to the front of my hat by poking a hole near that side rung there on the top of the hat and just threading a pipe cleaner through as I had ran out of zip ties, and then I just wrap that around the broom and also that wire of the wreath form, and that held my broom onto the wreath form. I used hot glue to adhere the other end of the broom handle to the top of that hat. I then decorated my hat with some of these glittery foam skulls from Dollar Tree, but that is absolutely optional. I just used a tiny dab of hot glue to stick them on there. And here is what my witch's hat and broom looks like. This is very customizable to your colors, whatever ribbon you like, and whatever tool that you like. So I hope that you enjoy this project. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to subscribe and give me a thumbs up, and take care, friends. So here is a last minute look at all of the things that we made today. Our freestanding witch's hat and that little ghost, and our stack of cats, as well as our ghost garlands and our eyeball garlands and our witch's hat with the broom. I really hope that you enjoyed all these projects. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. I hope to see you very, very soon. God bless, take care, and remember, the sun always shines brightest after a storm, so if you are going through something, just hang in there and things will get better.
You can subscribe to my mom's channel, and thank you for watching today's craft, and stay safe.